Hello, this is Eric of NotBio Studio, and today I'm reviewing the DJI microphone system. This is one mic and one receiver. You might wonder why this one. Well, I don't need a dual mic system. You get the dual mic system, it has a charging case. This one does not, but it works just as well when it comes down to it. And I updated the firmware right off the bat because there's no reason, zero reason to not update to the newest firmware if you want a proper working microphone. Now, when it comes down to it, I'm going to also be testing with lavaliers. I'm going to be testing with my mobile phone. I'm going to be testing with the PC. I'm going to be testing with my digital camera. And I'll be doing a distance reception test. And you might wonder, why lavaliers? Well, think about this. This is usually not hanging here. One reason, of course, is consistency. And you tend to get more sound isolation out of a lavalier versus this. Here, that might be hanging down, pulling your shirt. One day you have it here, one day you have it here. And consistency is a major thing. We can see Peter McKinnon was actually wearing the microphone in this particular video, and I can hear the reason why. Literally, you can hear the reason why. I'll show you what I mean. Now, if I want to test wind noise, I don't know if it's windy enough to test. The first thing I do with any device is I always update the firmware first. And it's as simple as go to DJI's website. I'll leave a link in the description of this video and connect to PC using the included cable with these devices. And then when you disconnect from your PC, it'll automatically update. The first step I'm going to do is I'm simply going to connect my receiver end to my PC. Doesn't matter if it's a transmitter or receiver, steps are the same. Don't even turn the power on, automatically this drive pops up. And then you're going to download the file. For this case, receiver, that's the part that has your digital menu, your display on it. And now I'm going to copy and paste into that window that opened, if I can find it, right there. And I'm going to paste into here. Now that I disconnect from the PC and I power it on with the power button, it is automatically updating. And the step to update the transmitter is exactly the same. And when the firmware is in the device, to update, just turn the power on and then watch for that blinking light to stop blinking. And once it's all done, is this orange light go away? We should be back to our normal state. You'll feel it vibrate and it will just be back to blinking green like its usual self. It's actually a fairly quick process. And here's the instructions for anyone that wants to see the instructions on how to update. Here is the receiver, and on the back side are some contacts, and these contacts are going to allow us to connect different devices. So if I wanted to connect to the back of this, an iPhone, right here we've got the lightning port, and we also have our Type-C if I want to connect to my Android phone. Of course, in this video, I'm going to test to camera, to my Android mobile phone, and to PC. Now for buttons and controls, let's go through the receiver first. We have our headphone jack. We also have our camera out. We also have our power button, as well as our USB Type-C charging. The microphone part itself, we see the mic right here on the top, as well as a lavalier port. On the back side, we have our regular hot shoe mounting or to our belt clip, and we also have our typical magnet that allows mounting within our shirt or whatever you want to do for mounting. So I can mount it basically anywhere as long as it sticks between the material of my shirt, inside or outside. Type-C charging port. We also have our power button, as you see right here, and we have an extra contact right here. We're going to see what that is for, probably a charging case. If you actually had the dual version, just like right here, if you had a charging case. As for other accessories, we have a stereo cable that is to your digital camera. We also have a USB Type-A, as we see here, to two Type-C connectors. And this is going to be connecting to both devices to charge them up. We also have our little firm-off cord. Here's our cord button, and here is our link button in case we lose connection to a receiver or get a new device. Automatically out of the package, this is connecting to this without me doing anything special. To mount this to your camera, we're going to take advantage of this clip that comes with this, and we're going to fold it out, just like so. Then we're going to slide it in, And when you slide it in, we have it just like so. and we're going to push it up. Now this could be mounted to our camera hot shoe. For connecting to mobile phone, we see an arrow facing down here, and we see the arrow facing down here as well. We're simply going to slide it through just like it shows. And here we go. And here, whether this direction or this direction, if I want to see my receiver, I can connect to my mobile phone just like so. The device itself also comes with this carrying bag. So the one side would normally carry all your accessories, and the other side would carry your microphone and your receiver. Now let's get to testing to camera. Right now you're hearing my first test of this DJI microphone, and I set everything to default, just out of the package, just as it is, using it normally. How am I coming through? I now have the receiver gain at 0 and the transmitter plus 12, the Sony ZV-1 at 5 volume out of 30. Now let's listen to the silence. I now have the receiver at plus 12 dB and the transmitter at 0. Let's listen to the silence. Right now I'm using the headphone out connection from this device to hear how this sounds. Does it sound any different? I'm now using headphone out at minus 4 dB. How am I coming through? Let's listen to the silence. I now have the receiver and transmitter level at 0. Now let's listen to the silence. I now have my receiver and my transmitter at plus 10 and my Sony ZV-1 at 1 out of 30 volume. Any louder, my Sony ZV-1 would be clipping. Now let's listen to the silence. The best experience I found was just leaving everything neutral. Now to let you know a little secret, the audio to PC and the audio to mobile phone is more silent. In fact, the built-in audio, if I use the memory card, is really clean. One thing that's neat to note is we have a menu here. We can actually mute it with a touch of a button. And the weird thing is when I press the mute button, this actually vibrates on me. Right now you're hearing is the recording of this device, and that's why the red light is on. So let's see how this sounds. Connected right here, holding it, and I'm going to stop recording. And we're going to also check out that quality. What quality does this record at? There we go. And that internal recording was just coming out of one speaker. If you had two different microphones, one would be right and one would be left channel. To fix that is very simple. I'm going to show you here in DaVinci Resolve just how easy it is to put it to both speakers. And then we're going to hear the audio play back again. Here's that mono channel audio. We just simply click it twice in DaVinci Resolve. I now click stereo. I now choose embed channel 1, and now it is stereo, and let's play this back. Right now you're hearing is the recording of this device, and that's why the red light is on. So let's see how this sounds. Connected right here, holding it, and I'm going to stop recording. And we're going to also check out that quality. What quality does this record at? The sampling rate is 48 Hertz, linear PCM codec. Nice. And it's a mono, is it 24-bit or 16-bit? I cannot see that in the details. Using Magix Vegas, I can see also that's 24-bit uncompressed mono audio at 26 seconds, 0.14 of a second. And we have a few more details when it's created, the time it's created, modified, and accessed. Now to show you many of the different settings that may be useful for you. I'm not going to go through all settings because this video would be super long. When it comes to transmitter, here's our volume settings. We have two different mics, despite this being a one mic setting. This device is exactly the same as the dual mic system, just missing one. And that means we have both settings available. Now, to change the volume, I can select it, but this one's the other one that doesn't exist for me. And in my particular case, the one that exists for me is right here. So I touch the screen and I can slide across all the way up, and I can go right down as well. And now I have more reasonable, quieter volume, and I can go up as I need to. Not only does the transmitter have a volume level, the receiver also has a volume level. I can also change my headphone volume right here. And let's see what I can do here. I can go right down, right down, right down. And I can go right up, right up, right up. I just be careful, I'm gonna be clipping the audio. I can see that my mic is +2 right now. And I can also see the gain of this device here as well. Under transmitter settings, we also have another menu. So if I go in here, we also have a low cut. And if I want to turn on or off, I press that again. And I can choose on or off. Even the record section has a lock, so we don't mistakenly turn it off. So if I press the record button, I don't want it accidentally turned off, it's going to lock. That's pretty cool that way. So I can stay recording and not turn off by accident. And we also have the option to auto record. So I turn the power on and it automatically records if that's what I want. With this receiver, just like if I had the 2 microphone model, we can actually select our device. And, we also have the safety channel option. And we can change it to stereo. That's only come through 1 speaker. And we have our mono option. So just like the regular unit, the firmware, the setup is the same. The camera's going to adjust for the brightness, but that's our brightness control of this screen. This menu here allows me to change the brightness of my microphone, and you can see it just dimmed, and we can see it's brighter there. And I can turn it to basically off. That's pretty cool. So this is a feature of the newer firmware. If you have the older firmware, you probably don't have that feature. How does this DJI mic work with wired lavaliers? Let's find out. This is a test of the Rode Lavalier 2 using the DJI mic. And if this lavalier doesn't sound good with this mic, originally when I was using a lavalier, it was a DD Pocket Wireless. And I know that sounds good with this particular microphone. You're going to want to take this locking part off because this gives you proper fit. Otherwise, the sound's going to be really, really bad. I should know. That's what I first did. I left this locking thing on. It makes it so it doesn't slip in all the way. The audio you're hearing right now is with the DJI mic connected to the Rode Lavalier 2 microphone. Right now we're using the DDW Lav with the DA35 with microdot. How am I coming through? Mind you, I have to leave it slightly out of the connector as you see here. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Right now you're hearing the X5 LV2. How am I coming through? Again, it doesn't like locking type microphones. Right now we're listening to the X5 LV1 and we can see again, it doesn't like this locking type of microphone. Has to be out, otherwise there's no sound at all. Here's another locking type microphone. This is from DD again. This is the one that comes with the DD Pocket Wireless. How is this coming through? We are now testing with the wired lavalier that comes with the PUBG Sys, or in other words, the Marfak WE10 Pro. Now to test to PC and then mobile phone. Let's check this out. The audio we're hearing right now is to PC, and the device that shows up as is microphone, wireless microphone RX. Right now both the transmitter and the receiver set to +12 decibels, and we can see I still had to boost it in OBS by +6. So that's one thing to note, it's not very loud to PC. Now in terms of DJI's website, we also have a firmware for the receiver and the transmitter. Whether you have the dual unit or the single, it's the same. You have the update guide right here, and we also have release notes and user manual in different languages and compatibility, and well, everything's right here. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. Right now I'm speaking to you on my Xiaomi 12X mobile phone using open camera because this particular phone has very hissy audio, and that's a fact of this particular phone. Sometimes I use the Shure Motive video app, and if you have an Apple phone, you should be just fine connecting directly to your mobile phone. How am I coming through? And it has a little circular piece here, and it's not really the best for seeing when it locks on, but when it does lock on, it's locked into place. Wonderful. When we have it locked on, we can't really connect to lavalier because this little body of this FurMuff is in the way. If you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to Not Bio Studio. If you're already subscribed, thank you very much. You are awesome. Now let's continue on to some other testing. It's now time to do a reception distance test, and I'm going to zoom in, of course, because this is a long distance. I have it measured out to 500 feet. For those that don't know, I live in Canada, and that means a lot of my measurements are going to be in feet. Every 25 feet is 7.5 meters. Right now we are 25 feet, 7.5 meters. Let's do a turnaround. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We are now at 50 feet away, which is 15 meters away. Can you hear me? 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 Right now I'm at 75 feet, which is, well, you can figure that math out because it's 7.5 times 3 distance for meters. 100 feet. 100 feet is 30 meters away. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is a reception distance test. 125 feet. And let's do a turnaround. Can you hear me? 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 And let's keep going. 150 feet away. And let's do a turnaround. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is 45 meters. 45 meters. Did you hear that? And I don't know if you can still hear me turning around or not, but even at this point, the Rode Wireless Go, at least number 1, and even the DD Pocket Wireless cannot do a turnaround at 150 feet without losing some reception. And right here is our next marker. This is 175 feet. Can you hear me? 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 And I'm going to keep on going back. 200 feet. This is 60 meters. Any further than this, turning a turnaround is unlikely to have any reception because this would be the furthest I've ever turned around. If you ever heard me right now, if you still hear me, 250 feet is right here. And let's keep going. And can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? And we're still going, still going. 250 feet. Wow. 300 feet away, and 300 feet is 90 meters. And we are the next marker here, 350. We are still going. Can you still hear me? As you can hear, as you can see, we're far away. The next marker, that's 375. This here is 500 feet away, which is, wow, that's 150 meters. I don't know if you can hear me, but if you can, we were pretty much at a record. The DD Pocket Wireless made it to just starting cut out at that distance away. I'm just going to keep on going a little further back to see if we have a new record for reception. Right around here, we are about 600 feet away. 600 feet away is 150 plus 30 is 180 meters away. Beats me if you can hear me, but if you can, this would be absolutely ridiculous. When I did that distance test, I was actually doing internal recording in case I needed that audio. Now I'm going to see if it lines up from the front of the recording all the way to the back end of the recording to see if everything lines up and if you can just throw it into your audio without any sync issues. Right here I have a recording that's 10 minutes here, all the way to 9 minutes, 30 seconds longer. So let's see if it syncs up from the front to the back. I now have the camera zoomed. The camera zoomed in to do this distance test. We can see I'm recording with this microphone, and every 25 feet, I'll be doing a turn. That means internal recording worked out for the entire walk there and back with me all holding all these. And as we heard, even 9 minutes, 30 seconds out lined up perfectly from front to back. With this huge reception distance, we don't really need internal recording, do we? Well, there might be some reasons you want to use internal recording. So if I clip my audio by being too loud for my volume level, it's redundancy and it protects our audio if we should have a problem. Also, another reason for recording is maybe you just want to record something just to have the audio at good resolution. The one thing though that I really don't like is it's too easy to try turning off the power and press the other side and we automatically record by accident. One important thing to test is battery life, so that's what we're going to test right now.
I'll run till I'm unbroken. These are the dreams we said we want. The final words were not enough. Am I supposed to stay behind? I can't.
So what are some of the disadvantages of the DJI mic? Well, the device here is finicky for swiping down, trying to get through our menus, and trying to find everything. There's so many swipe up and swipe down menus, it can be at least convoluted to initially set up. And another thing is to PC, the volume is not very loud. No matter if I turn it to max, both devices, it's kind of quiet, and the resolution does sound a bit lower to PC. Still okay, but not top notch like it normally is. I wish we had a record lockout option in the other side here, so I can simply record with the other side and lock this out. So I don't want to actually press it because it's just way too easy. Way too easy to turn the power off and press the button at the same time. Once you update the firmware, I had no problem with internal recording whatsoever. The audio is perfectly fine, which has been updated in firmware to improve your experience, among with many other updates I list throughout this video. So would I recommend it? For sure. The cable included with the device itself is kind of short. I'd like to see a bit longer one, but I did throughout the recording change the cable to a different one and no issues. So there we go. Battery life, 6 hours, pretty darn decent. Reception distance is the best I've ever tested. In fact, going further than the 600 feet that I made it would be absolutely ridiculous. And on top of that, we have a memory card storage to store our audio. So if you would cut out, we still have a backup option. This is Eric of NotBIOS Studio. Thanks for watching and have yourselves the most wonderful day. This is the Rode Lavalier 2. You'll notice that's not coming off like a lot of the reviewers mentioned. I mounted it a different way using the actual connector. It's not glued on or anything. It just holds in place the way I connected it. So losing parts doing this way is not going to be an issue a lot of reviewers mention.